What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Well,
how about you? Do you have anything to plug?
There's only one thing to say at a time like this, when the nation of England has been so rocked to its core. Queen regretfully passing. Rest in piss, bozo. We'll see you next week.
Oh!
What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive TV and movie podcast for streaming platforms on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Dylan coming at you from Underground Studios. We got a lot to dive into, plus, if you're watching this, you're already missing it, but it's pretty neat that we're recording this on a night where a streaming platform is the exclusive home to the NFL, and somebody Dylan and I know very, very well is playing in said game. Plus, shameless plug here, obviously we cover lacrosse on this network pretty big time. The PLL Championship game is in Philadelphia this week. You guys can go on ESPN Plus right now, and it's airing while Dylan and I are recording this on Thursday night on ESPN Main. The Fate of a Sport, the Premier Lacrosse League documentary. Dylan, I kid you not, you don't even have to know a lick about lacrosse. It's one of the best documentaries I've watched in my entire life, and that's not even because I know Paul and Mike Rabel. It's just a fascinating deep dive into the creation of a sports league from a player and his brother saying, hey, we're going to revolutionize this sport and change it for the better, and they recorded everything from the jump. It's a fantastic documentary. Highly recommended. It's on ESPN Plus now, so go stream that thing to the moon. Shout out to Mike and Paul Rabel. And if you're in the area, go to the PLL Championship game this Sunday at Subaru Park, which is right outside of Philadelphia. It's where the Philadelphia Union play. It's going to be a doozy. But we got to get into She-Hulk Episode 5, House of the Dragon Episode 4, and our streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by the homies over at Pickup, will be a D23 edition, as you can see on our rundown if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, because Dylan and I, we just have a lot of fun on the YouTube. So before we get started, make sure you're following us on the socials. We're kind of in a friendly rivalry, too, with our golf podcast, Dylan. Get in the Hole is on their road to 200 followers on Twitter. We're on our road to 200 followers on Twitter. We're kind of in an arms race to see who gets there first. Follow us on Twitter at StreamerSZN. Instagram, same handle, Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Follow the network as a whole at Underground PHI. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, where Christian is going to start writing full-blown movie reviews on our website, which is going to be fantastic.
That's awesome.
So I'm very excited about that. And, of course, subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. It helps more people find the show, helps more people join the StreamerSZN community. And, Dylan, for the people who may just be tuning in for the very first time and may have never heard your spiel before, in the Apple Podcast reviews, what should the people be leaving?
And for the people who listen regularly, you can skip the next 12 seconds.
They should be doing the same damn thing because we haven't gotten any.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, don't skip. You listen good. You listen now. No, I'm kidding. Sorry for yelling. No, but in all seriousness, on any of the platforms that you listen and or watch, if you're doing it on YouTube, you're going to be leaving those awesome reviews. And in those awesome reviews, you're leaving 5 stars, etc., likes, subscribing. And you're going to be telling Kyle and I what to watch. Right now, we are going through the infinity gauntlet of gosh darn shows, it feels like. We have so much, on the docket. Like I'm literally watching Lord of the Rings on the side. It's like a side piece.
Yeah.
Show. But like
Dylan,
my
we are a week away from Andor being added to the list.
Like you're in the meme with a dog. Like it's fine. That's me right now with the shows. It's a good kind of problem to have. Kyle has the Funko Pop. He's probably grabbing it if you're watching visually. Yeah, exactly. Fine. It's fine. But like we're gonna run into a lull like we always do, or a lull in terms of.
Well, we thought we were, and then D23 happened.
That's true. but there will be a time where we go.
Oh yeah.
A bazillion shows only down
down to one
or two, and then we can squeeze in something that you want us to watch. So please let us know. We have all the services. Like Kyle said, Amazon Prime is literally the sole provider to gosh darn football today, and that's awesome. So that's good for the brand. So
Paramount Plus. I've seen Paramount Plus is throwing out little podcast advertisements, Dylan. Paramount Plus wants to hook the boys up, hook up a segment for the pals.
You want to hook us up? I'll get you added. Paramount right here.
Hey, Ink Master's back on Paramount Plus. Shameless plug there. It's one of my favorite shows. So yeah, maybe that'll be our road to 100K. Dylan just gets a tattoo of something.
I'm sorry, Mom. Don't listen.
But yeah, do that in the Apple Podcast reviews and do the same thing in the YouTube comment section and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia. You get full video episodes of every podcast on our network. Right now, there are 8 podcasts going out on our YouTube channel throughout a given week. That includes Underground Sports Philadelphia twice a week, the Outside the Box podcast with myself and DJ, StreamerSZN with myself and Dylan, Top Bins with Matt and Dom, Loaded Box will be coming to the YouTube very, very soon with Pat Pitts and OC, and getting the whole podcast with Stephen McAvoy and Ben Pirro. And it's football season, so you get the Dan Russo Show premiering on Thursday nights on our YouTube channel every single Thursday night, and Eagles Enemies during Eagles season with myself and media members from Eagles opponents every single Eagles week. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is more content than some TV networks are dishing out. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that like button, ring the bell icon so you don't miss a single second of the content we're dishing out. And like we said, leave a comment down below how you felt about She-Hulk this week, House of the Dragon, the D23 announcements, and your show and movie recommendations as well. Big shout out to the sponsees, Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. I've been running on nitro mode. So I've had my blue light plus glasses right by my side, Dylan. They have been wrong. I keep them things on me. So go to TomahawkShades.com. Get your own blue light glasses. Stay strapped with the blue lights. Protect those eyes. Get your sunglasses. It's still bright outside. You got to protect your eyes. Go to TomahawkShades.com. Use code USP for 25% off your order at TomahawkShades.com. Kenwood beer. It's Dylan's favorite beverage of choice when when he's peeping in the brothels. Dylan's kicking back some Kennies. When he goes to the courtroom, he's bringing Kennies with Madison. So go to kenwoodbeer.com. Check out that fire merch drop. Get it while it's still available. That stuff's not going to last forever. The Kenwood Beer rope hats and the It's a Bad Day to Be a Kenny shirt. Plus, the all-new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. And the boys over at Bino, every single week leading up to the World Cup, they're dropping new boards, World Cup inspired, and you get World Cup inspired carrying cases for your boards. As you guys are listening to this, the England board will be dropping pretty timely, if you ask me, that they're dropping England's board this week. So go to BinoBoard.com and use code BINHOUSP, BINHOUSP, for 10% off your order at BinoBoard.com.
A little too convenient of a dropping time, Bino board. No, I'm kidding.
Little bit. A wee little spot of tea, if you ask me there, bruv, isn't it? Dylan, let's get into it. Episode 5 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, dropped today. And it's getting some mixed reviews across the board, and I think rightfully so. It wasn't the greatest episode. Did it have some good humor in it? Yes. Was it kind of for lack of a better term, a fluff episode? Probably, because you and I both agreed before we started recording we didn't necessarily need 25 minutes of Titania taking Jen to court and, claiming the She-Hulk name.
Yeah, definitely a filler episode. And the core aspect of the show, to me personally, has been lacking. Like, I know it's a sitcom, like a comedy, which is fine. There are some jokes like that even I like giggle at, or at least chuckle, or like smile. But like the actual like court complex of it just falls flat for me almost every week. I mean, granted, not every week has had much courtroom time, so hopefully that improves. But like in the cases we've seen in court, it doesn't. It's like meh.
I like the aspect of like why they were going to court, because it did make a lot of sense, where it's like, how do these superheroes get away with using some of these names that aren't necessarily their names? And I thought it was pretty funny that Jen's two examples were superheroes, that it was their actual names.
Yeah.
And then using the dating app to kind of win her the case was also pretty funny. But this episode is called Mean Green and Straight Poured Into These Jeans.
What a name.
So Titania has trademarked the She-Hulk name for a new line of beauty products, which angers Jennifer Walters. Holloway warns Walters that she needs to deal with the situation quickly and assigns Mallory Book as her attorney for the case, who is Renee Goldsberry from Hamilton the Musical. Awesome stuff for us theater nerds. Nikki and Pug come up with a plan to acquire a superhero outfit for Walters from Luke Jacobson, a highly exclusive tailor who gave me big Edna Mode vibes.
Okay.
Edna Mode.
Last time, 1972.
Pull yourself together. While Book and Walters decide to countersue Titania in the hopes of regaining the She-Hulk trademark, Walters is annoyed to discover that Todd, one of her unsuccessful dates, who I have big-time sus vibes about, Dylan and I always keep that sus meter on us.
Todd.
He's also a client at her firm, but this helps her to realize that she can use her dating app history to establish a past record of her identifying She-Hulk before Titania ever tried to gain the trademark. Thanks to her past dates' testimonies, Walters wins the case, and she establishes a tentative friendship with Book. She later acquires her new customized outfits from Jacobson, who prepares a mask for shipping to a specific client that was left open. That cue the music. It was Daredevil, baby. Daredevil, finally, full-blown confirmed. No longer a Sony-verse type situation. Daredevil.
I was just grooving with the song that Kyle was giving us right there.
We love that Daredevil Netflix music, baby, and we're going to talk about Daredevil later on the show as well. But overall, a pretty decent episode. Like I said, I don't think we needed a full-blown, court case versus Titania, and I don't know how this necessarily establishes, who the overarching villain is, which I still think is whoever is, in control of the Wrecking Crew, who we saw in episode 3. The guys that tried to jump Jennifer Walters when she was on her way home. I think it's whoever is, running them, which there's a big-time Hulk-related reveal from D23, which I don't know if you saw or not, Dylan.
I didn't see much of D23, and that was, I was busy with B on purpose because I like getting live reactions for you and for the content. So
I think they did this reveal on purpose. Marvel, I feel like, tends to do this a little bit. Like, remember all the way back before No Way Home came out, they were talking about Charlie Cox, and Kevin Feige said he didn't know exactly when Daredevil was going to come back, but Daredevil was going to come back, and then boom, cameo in No Way Home. We did get a massive reveal in the D23, presentations during Marvel's, time on stage. We've talked about this for this show, and I think you're going to be pretty excited about it, Dylan. Because
is it the War of the Hawks?
In Captain America New World Order, coming out on your birthday, 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
Stay getting Marvel properties near my birthday.
We are getting the return of one Samuel Stearns. Tim Blake Nelson will be returning to reprise his role as Samuel Stearns in Captain America New World Order, a.k.a. the leader, a.k.a. somebody who's involved with the intelligentsia in the Marvel Comics. And I think, personally, he's the one kind of running the wrecking crew a little bit because he's going after the blood. And if you remember the 2008 Incredible Hulk film, he had the blood fall on his head and everything, and he was working with the super soldier serum with Blonsky and stuff. I feel like it's all too interconnected there, and him being revealed to be in that movie full blown, you're going to have to cameo him again at some point, and obviously She-Hulk is a prime opportunity to do that, being that he is Hulk-related.
But he has the powers of one who has the blood or the genes of Hulk. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And I also like that pun from the fashion designer who asked if Jen was blood related to the actual Hulk, because we all know she's very blood related to the Hulk, not only because they're cousins, but because his blood got into her.
Some would say extremely related, Kyle.
I love that line there. But I feel like we're still kind of lacking what Jen's main conflict is in this show. And I know we still have, it's not like next week is the finale, thankfully. We still have episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9, so we still have 4 more episodes after today's to kind of break down things, and Daredevil is obviously coming into the fold more than likely next week, which is very exciting.
Well, you would assume so with the helmet being there. But that also brings to your point, why the hell, off camera, you were talking about it for a little bit, why is the helmet there?
Right. Why does Daredevil have to go to LA? Because this lists that it's getting shipped out to somebody, but the desk said that it was for pickup in the show. So, and we know Daredevil's going to interact with She-Hulk, so he's coming out to LA. I did see a couple people kind of speculating. Obviously, we don't know the reason that he's going to LA, but and Charlie Cox said during D23 that he feels like Daredevil's going to be a big-time asset and involved with the Avengers moving forward, and he will be an Avenger of some ilk. I think Daredevil, this new born again, if you will.
Born again.
I think She-Hulk is assembling the West Coast Avengers, which is something we've talked about over a year ago once White Vision popped up, because he is part of the West Coast Avengers.
I hope they explain why he's over there, though, because he's primarily, historically, a New York street-level hero, so why
Agreed.
Is he all of a sudden... I'm not knocking it, but, why is he all of a sudden...
Yeah, which I'm more than confident we're going to get that answer when he pops up.
Who's better? It's you or the answer, Kyle. Not kidding.
Allen Iverson. But you look at all the characters we've recently got introduced into the MCU that are new. She-Hulk, Daredevil's coming back, Moon Knight has been introduced into the MCU, Shang-Chi, obviously being based in California, Ant-Man is in California, and the next big movie outside of Wakanda Forever, the next big movie kicking off Phase 5 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which we got even more information about at D23.
Which is awesome, because I actually like Ant-Man. I know I'm sadly in the minority there. I think people either don't like the Ant-Man movies, haven't seen them, or just forget about them.
So I think She-Hulk might be assembling the West Coast Avengers, which could include Daredevil, Shang-Chi and Katie, Awkwafina's character, White Vision. You could throw Moon Knight into the mix. There's a lot of opportunity with this West Coast crew, and I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit, but I also feel like Daredevil's going to be in the Midnight Suns, which Dylan and I are still eagerly awaiting. Obviously, the video game is coming out, so that will tickle our fancy just a little bit, but I think the biggest takeaway from this episode is, Daredevil's here, and now I'm excited to see Jen's new outfit as well. But there is still kind of just a lot of question marks around this show. Are we going to see the Hulk again? Obviously, he's off-world now in that Sakaar spaceship.
He's off making babies, possibly.
who is Jen's big foe in this show per se? Hashtag bars. And are we gonna see Blonsky again? You know, there's a lot of question marks, I think, surrounding the remainder of She-Hulk, which is 4 more episodes. But this one kind of felt like, hey, here's a mid-season, you know, fluffer, if you will, kind of give you the end of Titania's arc, maybe. And here's our way to say, get ready for next week because Daredevil's coming through.
Definitely a fluffy episode. If anybody here listening has watched any kind of cartoon growing up as a kid or any kind of anime, etc., they call it filler episode. That's what this was, in my opinion. That's why I didn't like it very much, because I am not a proponent of filler episodes in the medians I just give examples of. Usually they are just what we described. They are fillers. They are just stalling. Usually the term kind of started when something. It kind of happened in Game of Thrones, actually, which ties into the next thing. When something happens, and it's like they had a filler episode so it doesn't get ahead of the pre-existing novel, book, comic book, etc. So obviously this really wouldn't be the case in terms of, obviously She-Hulk has already been written across many versions, but maybe because what they want to cover may only take 6-7 episodes, so they kind of had to stretch it. Which I understand. It's just personally, as a viewer, I didn't like it. So that's why my score is going to be a lot lower than normal for this show, because I just don't like filler episodes.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily hate it, but it was damn, I kind of wanted a little more. No post-credit scene in this episode either. But then last big takeaway before we do get to our scores, the Iron Man 3s drop. You know, you need
I
one.
Need those, bro.
You need one to wear and one to keep on the shelf, obviously, for all you sneakerheads out there. But they show a sketch of Homie in his shoe closet, and there were Deadpool sneakers on his shelf. There were Storm sneakers on his shelf. Do we take that as quote unquote canon, or is that just here's something kind of interesting to just keep an eye on? That is really our first MCU, quote unquote, for everybody not watching on YouTube. I think
we do, Kyle.
Reference to Deadpool and Storm.
I think we do, because we haven't. Well, yeah, it's the first references, and now going forward, there's been some Easter eggs and cameos that have hinted at things, but they've been lighthearted. But in order to have a shoe, right? If we go after real life, right? Think about how many different professional athletes have their shoe lines. In the NBA, there's quite a few NBA players who have their own shoes across the several main shoe companies. My point is, if we apply that logic to Marvel, they wouldn't make up a character of that stature to have a shoe after if they weren't in the world in some capacity. Whether it's what we want them to be, or whether it's some crazy guy dressing up as Deadpool in his backyard. Either way, there has to be a Deadpool, which would also fit the narrative of him. And there also has to be a Storm in order to inspire the shoe. And the whole episode was about licensing and namesake, so you'd have to insinuate that when they
I didn't even think of that.
They would own the namesake to their own shoes. Or their knockoffs, so who knows. But you know what I mean? That also ties into that. That's why I'm here, to add different angles and stuff.
I did not even think of that, and I love that angle of the episode. Wow, I like that a lot. And I also think them kind of referencing it as the Iron Man 3s. This is, everybody strap on your tinfoil hats as we always do. Iron Man 3. Justin Hammer?
Yeah, it goes back to my theory. I said that. I thought he's the bad guy. That would set up the Armor Wars show as well, indirectly, bringing him back, because he's involved in that. Which
he said he's down to return at D23 adjacent interview. But now that it's not just, a singular web page ad for the Iron Man 3s, and it's not just a throw in, I think that adds more credence to your theory from last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. Lot of just subtle hints to different characters in this show, which is also very interesting. I also think Homie, that is a client at GLK&H that she went on the date on.
Yeah.
I think he is, and a lot of people, I think MT from New Rock Stars first mentioned it. He is the leader's brother, Madman, from the comics, who
I
is
could
just
see that.
crazy.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Because remember when they go on the
crazy, right?
remember when they went on the date, he asked She-Hulk if vibranium could penetrate her skin.
Yeah, it's like
That's a little sus. And then
a
you
little
have
sus.
people coming after She-Hulk, trying to stab her for her blood and everything. There's a lot of susness about Homie, and for him to return in this episode and have his own little standalone sequence outside of his testimony in court was very interesting. So I remember last week I mentioned like he's a bigger name actor in the grand scheme of things, where like for a role like that you could have just cast somebody as a throwaway character if it was nothing, but for him to be back I think is it was a calculated thing.
I agree. I don't think you generally, unless the actor wants to, you don't bring a bigger name actor in for like a spoof role. Like they most times want to be involved, especially it's in kind of like a weird way. Like he's a love interest, like a partner interest, but not really, but he is. So it's like makes you wonder like why is he there? And I honestly just like the fact that we tied in the whole namesake licensing thing with the Iron Man 3s just now. And then I also like that the Justin Hammer thing kind of further presents itself, I guess, if you will, going forward, hopefully.
Agreed. So Dylan, that brings us to our scores. What does She-Hulk episode 5 rank for you?
You're not gonna like it. 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 Okay, so I think the lowest score I've given in history is a 6, right?
I can tell you that I don't know if you've ever gone. I don't know if you went to a 5 during Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan, but my brain is like
I'm not
juggling
gonna
with that.
go. I'll give a spoiler. I'm not gonna go. It's gonna be in the 5s, but it's not gonna be a 5 flat. I do not like filler episodes. They are my enemy, dude. They are my sworn enemy in anything. So being the filler episode, the fact that the courtroom, the name drama just fell poopy for me, I'm going to give it like a 5.9.
Oof.
That's my lowest score. I mean, at the end of the day, it could be worse. And also, if you're staying, hopefully you're staying for the whole thing, my Game of Thrones House of Dragon score is also going to be lower than my other ones. It wasn't a good day for the ratings on this side of the court.
I'm gonna give this episode a 7.2. I like the subtle hints at a lot of things. I think it's a build-up episode. I think that's what I would call it, more so than a filler in my point of view. I think it's more of a build-up because obviously Daredevil reveal at the end with the costuming and everything. We get her date back again, and we'll just see where it goes next week. So 7.2 from me, 5.9 from Dylan.
Making Kyle do some serious math.
Quick little math here for the people. 13.1 divided by 2. This episode gets a 6.55, which in my math brain rounds up to a 6.6 out of 10. It's still viewable. It's not under a 5.
See?
So it's
even if we disagree, folks, we're still giving you a good enough grade to say, hey, go out and watch it. And don't mind me if you don't see my face. I'm just checking what time the fantasy football game starts tonight.
I think it's 8:30.
That's late.
So that brings us from She-Hulk to House of the Dragon, episode 4.
Wait, shouldn't the theme song for this week be I've been feeling shy?
Boy! I think this episode should be brought to you like Sesame Street by the letter I. Which I think needs to be included in those little boxes for your TV ratings and everything there, HBO. You need to include the letter I because the letter S did not suffice for this episode for me.
So, brain blast idea for shows that are really like TV MA, right? Rather than have the little box, show up like this big on your screen, but get like a really famous comedian like Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr and have them just say something outlandish, be like, hey, yo, cousin's gonna be fucking on this show. And then Like the president is
If
set.
Bill Burr did that, I think I would just collapse on command.
That'd be hilarious, dude.
So this episode 4, King of the Narrow Sea. I did appreciate the post-show like discussion from the showrunners and everything, where they talked about how they filmed this episode, and obviously there were very prevalent sex scenes in this episode of House of the Dragon, and they talked about how in normal shows, when you watch them, a lot of the sex scenes are meant to like make you focus on it from a male perspective and a male point of view, where this episode, and I think, you know, when they said it, it was like, wow, like, yeah, that's what they did. It was presented to you from Rhaenyra's point of view in both of those sex scenes, and Alicent's point of view as well, when her and the king are Marvin Gaye and getting it on.
They made the one purposely awkward as well with Sir Kristen because he had a full suit of armor on.
Right. And I think that was like a really interesting attention to detail to present all 3 sex scenes that we got from the female point of view and from their like vantage point. Because I honestly cannot name a show that's ever done that I've watched. So I thought that was a very key attention to detail. And if you didn't pick up on it the first time and you feel comfortable watching this episode again, go back and watch it and like watch it from that point of view, and it makes you understand where they were going with this episode that much more.
Yeah, sorry. If you hear a dog in the background faintly howling, it's my dog.
Miller's not a fan of the I word.
No, he hates it. No, they installed a new door so he sees stuff. But no, I agree. It's a cool like twist on like, you know, like historically it's been viewed in the other way, but it's cool to see it viewed differently.
100%. So the King of the Narrow Sea opens up, I think, with one of the more cocky and badass entrances from Daemon. He comes in, new fresh haircut.
Yeah, dude,
he's got a crown on, and he's walking in with the crab feeder's hammer, and basically goes up to our baby back bitch king and says, add it to the chair, and throws the crab feeder's hammer on the ground. And just outside of, you know, the one scene that we'll get to, I am still very much Team Daemon, because he is a badass motherfucker, does not care what you have to think or say about him, and he's just going to do as he pleases, and I love the way that Matt Smith is portraying his character.
Emphasis on that last thing, yeah.
Sir, this is a Wendy's?
Definitely does that. No, but it's similar to the OG Game of Thrones. There's a lot of the characters do weird things, and you kind of have to, like, forget about, like, one action. But as a whole, he still is a very needed character for the show, and I definitely concur with you.
Yeah, so that brings us to Rhaenyra, who has traveled to Storm's End, where this is kind of the plot of the episode. Lord Borman Baratheon's guidance and accompanied by Sir Kristen. She meets and rejects countless suitors. We get Homeboy, who's trying to, you know, seduce and win her love, and then he just goes and full-blown stabs Homie with the sword. And then, I don't know if you picked it up, when he's back there while Homie's spewing blood from his mouth, he's like on the verge of throwing up because he just got his first kill.
No, that's awesome. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so when he stabs him, and the guy that he stabs is like on the ground, like spewing the blood and everything, he's kind of out of focus, but still like in the camera lens. And you see him, he's like getting violently sick because he just witnessed his first kill that he performed, which I thought was very, very cool, in a weird, sick, sadistic, twisted way.
Yeah. It is. Well, that's the show, you know.
So then, on their way home by ship, they see Daemon on his dragon Caraxes, flying past them, returning home from his military campaign in the Stepstones. Rhaenyra returns to King's Landing just as Prince Daemon enters the throne room. Daemon says he was named King of the Narrow Sea, but swears allegiance to King Viserys, and removing his crown, hands it to the king. As the reunited brothers celebrate at a feast, Queen Alicent confides her loneliness to Rhaenyra, who misses their friendship. Late at night, Rhaenyra, disguised as a boy, which a lot of people paralleled to when Arya Stark dressed up as a boy in Game of Thrones, sneaks out with Daemon to explore King's Landing. Rhaenyra getting the kind of underground map, I think, is a huge takeaway from this episode as well that we're going to have to put in the memory bank, because next week, Dylan, is when the 10-year time jump happens. So this was the last time we'll see Rhaenyra and Alicent, the actors that have portrayed them so far. They're kind of done with for the rest of this season. But they explore King's Landing. They drink, attend a bawdy play. We see a blind woman who offers to let Rhaenyra know how she's going to die, which is kind of wild. And then they visit the brothel.
Yeah, and then it goes tits up. Get it?
Daemon seduces a willing Rhaenyra, but unable to become fully aroused, abandons his niece there, which is very telling about Daemon, which we saw earlier in the season when he is having sex with his lady, and then afterwards he's just like distraught and everything, and you don't know really why. This just shows the power complex and the struggle of Daemon not having full control over a situation, because when Rhaenyra kind of like submitted, was like, yeah, let's do this shit, he lost all of his power and he could no longer keep it up.
Yeah, sorry for him. The pill won't be invented probably for a long time. So shit, he's gonna be shit out of luck for a little bit.
I heard Dragon's Tooth works pretty well.
Dragon's blood.
He abandons his niece in the brothel, and returning to the Red Keep, Rhaenyra seduces Sir Criston. Now we need to bonk this entire episode. This entire episode deserves a bonk.
Do you think her like being left / her uncle having good old get it up issues? Do you think that just like nicks like in the butt of her feelings of ever doing that again? You think it's a possibility, or do you think she's like, nah, I'm good?
I think she's just like, she no longer has that fear of, now she's had sex, and now she just feels like she has that kind of feeling of power in her tool belt, and she's just no longer timid about it. So now I feel like she has gained more confidence in herself to just go forward, and
that ties into the next. She very much is the one who fully initiates the next sex scene with her guard.
Yes, Sir Criston. She, de-armors him from his entire knight outfit, which he's not even supposed to remove because of the code that he, takes for his position and everything. Like, he's not supposed to have sex.
And I read that someone was like writing a recap, and they said that one they considered a love. It's like more of a love scene, whereas her and her uncle, they did not consider that a love scene. And I saw that twice. That's something interesting, that people considered her with Sir Criston, I guess, more intimate, whereas her and her uncle was more just about the dirty, I guess, if you will. I guess I could agree with that, because, I mean, then again, who knows? Because she also initiated Sir Criston, and maybe she just wanted to Marvin Gaye. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. She just is ready to go. And then we also see the king and Alicent, and Alicent's just kind of laying on the bed, just like not wanting to do anything. It's late at night, and the king is just horny on main, and we see his disgusting ass sore-covered back.
Missing a hand, right?
Ugh, just disgusting. He's like just out there, like looking like a cretin. And Alicent just like
half a hand, rather.
Alicent's just like sitting there, like, can you just finish already? Like, I'm so over this.
Wait, actually, I guess you could say he is missing a hand of the king.
Little foreshadowing, if you will, governor. Sir Otto, his spy, informs him about Daemon and Rhaenyra's exploits, and Alicent overhears Sir Otto telling the king. She privately questions Rhaenyra, who denies having sex with Daemon, claims that, questioning her, that's an act of treason. And I love how Rhaenyra kind of switched places with Alicent to have her facing away from the tree and kind of gain that higher ground, was more in power.
I like that too.
The king angrily confronts Damon, who seemingly confirms the accusations and proposes that he wed Rhaenyra. Viserys says Damon only wants the marriage to gain the crown, then exiles his brother back to the Vale. To avoid scandal, Viserys orders Rhaenyra to marry Sir Leonor Valerion. Viserys also heats his ancestor Aegon's dagger and shows Rhaenyra that it has runes saying, quote, "From my blood comes the prince that was promised, and his will be the song of ice and fire," kind of debunking the notion that, prince was an interchangeable word of prince or princess. And the king dismisses Sir Otto as his hand, feeling Otto has always manipulated him from his own personal gain. The king sends Grand Maester Mellos to give Rhaenyra a precautionary abortifacient tea, so that way, if any mistakes had happened, it's prevented. And that was one hell of an episode of House of the Dragon.
It was a horny on main episode, and that's why my score will be sitting at like a 7.1, just because a little too much sexatime. And it's just like that kind of, it doesn't take it away. Like it does serve a point, and that this also ironically, like She-Hulk, was very much like a building up episode, because we're literally taking another time jump, like you said, and we're getting certain actors changed because they're growing up. But like, just like it's the same thing with the OG Game of Thrones that you didn't watch. Some of the episodes that were more sexual, like centric, I just lose interest for like brief moments, because I'm not watching it for that. I'm watching it for everything else that it presents. I guess in a way that's back to its old roots, but for me, it just a little too much.
Yeah, it was interesting. Definitely need
the PG answer.
Definitely need the letter I involved here.
I didn't even touch on that, but that's another thing. If you're gonna see sex, it's one thing if it's two consensual, non-related partners. It's another thing when it's fucking young niece to her uncle. Crazy.
It was pretty wild, pretty wild,
pretty gross, Kyle.
So what was your ranking again?
I would say 7, maybe 8.
I'm going to give this... So last week was my highest score at an 8.4. I liked a lot of the non-sex one-liners that will stick with me in this episode. The add it to the chair and throwing the crab feeder's hammer was fucking electric.
Probably one of the coolest lines we've witnessed on this show, like on the show itself, the podcast itself.
Yeah. That was electric. I think Damon having a crown is something to...
So funny how incest and being a dick aside, you and I are totally like, dude, the main asshole antagonist character,
he rules.
Fucking love him.
Gold team rules.
Gold team rules.
I think Rhaenyra is still a fucking badass. Even after partaking in some incestual coitus.
It's cool seeing Otto lose his powers, although...
Yes. Which we've always said from the jump, that motherfucker was a snake.
But he probably should have lost his life. Just because I feel like idle hands can cause a lot of damage, and if you give him the time to plot and scheme, he's already done that his whole life, so he won't stop.
Right. And, who would you still say is on your sus list as... we're 4 episodes through. Who are you not trusting at all? And then who are you still kind of, I'm fighting for them. I'd go to war for them.
Literally the same 3. I'd go to war for Daemon, Rhaenyra, and Sir Christian.
That's the squad.
2 of them, well, no, all of them indirectly. Why? They're all Eskimo bros. Well, 2 of them are Eskimo bros. So they're all related now, Kyle.
God damn it, Bobby.
They're one happy family. I was quoting Waterboy. Hey, Bobby, it's me, your dad. Oh my god. But no, seriously. Those 3. Obviously, sus is still Otto because I don't trust him. I also don't trust Allison. I think that's the name, right? Allison.
Yeah, her friend that married her dad.
I think she doesn't look like she's having a good time no more, and
she was spying on her own dad. Like, that's sus.
Yeah, so I don't know where her allegiance lies. So my point is she can easily be manipulated, so she might end up being a driving factor in getting the king like killed or kicked out of power.
Yeah, I don't trust her at all.
She might also be pissed because it's might be one of those plot points where next episode you might find out years later she has like resentment because her daddy got fired.
That's true too. That's very true. I'm still Team Damon. I'm still Team Rhaenyra, and I'm still Team.
That's
Sir
why I
Kristen.
like this podcast. We watch the same thing, and we both bring up points that the other one was like, "Yo, how the fuck did you think of that?" And we're like, "I have no idea," and that's why I like this.
But I also think, even though Otto got kicked out of being, the king's hand, that motherfucker's still up to some dirty ass shit, as we saw in the episode preview for Sunday.
Who's the evil like rich guy from Simpsons who always does this?
Oh, Montgomery Burns.
Yeah, that's him
Mr.
right now.
Burns.
It's Otto still. That's Otto in the background.
Because that motherfucker was plotting. I don't know if you watched like the preview for next week that they showed. But
I do not. And the Game of Thrones, I never try to watch it. But you can go
the big takeaway from that I kind of grabbed, that why he's still going to be in the mix and still be a key player on the chessboard per se, is he goes up to Alicent and says, you need to do whatever it takes to make sure Aegon becomes, the heir to the throne, which is Alicent's son with the king.
Yeah.
So that means some shit's about to pop the fuck off next week.
And we are taking a convenient time jump.
Yes, we are. It's going to be quite interesting, and I think what they said in the director and showrunner, discussions was since episode 1, 6 years have passed now.
Oh shit, that's quite a lot of time. Also,
I'm gonna.
You got your score right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that's
give.
what I was waiting for.
Last week I gave it an 8.4. This week is coming down a little bit, but there was still some really good quality, things to take away from this episode, in my opinion.
The show.
So I'm gonna give this episode a 7.6.
Okay, so the math's not too hard. It's like a 7.3 then.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of new shows, by the way, unrelated, I watched new episode of Rick and Morty.
I still have to watch them.
Dude,
I've been on the road the last 2 weeks when they drop on Sundays, but I'm very excited to go back and watch them.
my existence. That's all I gotta say.
We will be talking Rick and Morty on this show for sure at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, 7.3 overall for episode 4 of House of the Dragon. Sunday's gonna be bonkos with that new episode, and
one could say cowbunga.
Yeah, we're gonna be fucking hanging loose, bro. Fucking cowabunga boys.
Cowabunga boys.
This show, it's quite the show, and if you get us to 1K on YouTube, I'll watch season 1 of Game of Thrones. So
we're living in a society, man. We're Kyle.
Yeah, man.
Sevens and eights to a Game of Thrones show. Like that's just.
It's unprecedented. It's unprecedented waters.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Also, I think big takeaway from this too, as far as we know, Damon no grayscale.
Yes, he did not look fugly. Hopefully
unless that's what happened to his hair.
Hopefully he
got hair scale.
Because if he has it, then Sir Christian and Rhaenyra also have it. Fucking Sisterhood of the Traveling Grayscale.
And I think with that's going to bring us into everybody's favorite segment with a twist. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes D23 edition, brought to you by the homies over at Pickup. You guys can go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, get your NFL props in each and every week over on Pickup's website. It's free to play. All you got to do is sign up with your phone number. You rack up points on your fan profiles. You cash them in for prizes on the Pickup Marketplace. That's playpickup.com. Dylan, D23 was this past weekend, and I must say it was a doozy of a time keeping up with everything that was going down. Lots of stuff with the parks, lots of stuff with streaming, And of course, we got that goody deliciousness of all the new stuff coming to Disney Plus, Star Wars, Marvel, and other shows that I'm sure we will be talking about on this podcast, including the National Treasure series, Percy Jackson, and a whole lot more. But Dylan, let's start off with something that I'm very excited about. And I personally don't know off the top of my head if you are a fan of this property, but coming to Disney Plus in 2023, we're getting an all-new comedy series that follows the Electric Mayhem Band. It is the Muppets Mayhem coming to Disney Plus in 2023, following along with Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
I'm kind of excited for that. Oh, excuse me. I'm not really. Man. I'm not really the biggest Muppet guy, but I'll definitely give it a try. I know you're a Muppets fan.
Big Muppets fan. I think you'll like the premise of this show. The Electric Mayhem Band on an epic music-filled journey to record their first ever studio album. The band includes Dr. Teeth on vocals and keyboard, Animal on drums, Floyd Pepper on vocals and bass, Janice on vocals and lead guitar, Zoot on saxophone, and Lips on the trumpet. With help from driven young music executive Nora Singh, the old school Muppet Band comes face to face with the current day music scene as they try to finally go platinum. The Muppets Mayhem also stars Taj Mowry as Moog, Sarah.
I was going to say Taj Mahal. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Taj Mowry, for the people at home, smart guy. If you were a fan, that is Taj. Sarah Chaudhry as Hannah, and Anders Holm as JJ in a recurring role. The Electric Mayhem's rockin' performance of Can You Picture That is now available for streaming to tide you over before the series debut. You can go check that out. I'm very excited for that. We're getting another season of High School Musical, the series. Enjoy, everybody, if you enjoy it.
Soaring, flying.
We got our first look and first trailer for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which I'm very excited about.
I'm excited too because they fumbled the bag so fucking hard, and it's ironic to curse in the Disney segment, but I will because Kyle, you can recall we watched it. The Percy Jackson movie they tried to make it just didn't do it.
It was not it, fam. And Rick Riordan is fully involved with the show, so that's exciting. The author of the books, so that's coming soon to Disney Plus.
Take notes, movie producers and producers and directors and screenwriters. You want the author of the content to, unless they're J.K. Rowling. You want,
Boo!
the authors. Boo! You stink. You want the people to be involved because they I don't know, they created they created the world that you are replicating in movie form.
Yeah. I think this is an awesome thing. We're getting season 2 of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder.
That is pretty sick. There was quite a few announcements. I'm looking at it now as you're going through. Like there was a lot for every department of Disney, like Lucasfilm, Pixar, Marvel, and it's crazy how much content we're getting shoved our way again.
We're getting I believe, which is the final installment of this universe. It's a series launching on November 16th on Disney Plus, The Santa Clauses, with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Cal Penn.
And Bernard's back, too.
Barabbas.
The OG elf, Bernard's back, people.
Barnaby.
Rest assured.
We are getting National Treasure Edge of History, featuring Lizette Oliveri and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They unveiled the first full trailer. I think it's a continuation and it's a series. And the first 2 episodes will premiere on December 14th on Disney Plus. Trailer looks sick.
The original movie slapped when I was younger, so I'm okay with that being a thing.
We're getting a new animated Marvel show, which I'm not exactly sure if it's MCU canon or not, but Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is coming February 10th. The series will be available for streaming shortly after its release on Disney Channel, which is on February 10th. But Devil Dinosaur is MCU, it's Marvel. I don't know if this is exactly MCU canon, but
we ain't sure yet, but we'll keep you posted. Kyle, the one I'm really excited about is the Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. That looks interesting to me. That was the one where it's like standalone animated episodes.
Yep. So 3 are going to be about Ahsoka, and 3 are going to be about Count Dooku.
Yeah, and Count Dooku's. I mean, if you've watched Star Wars, Count Dooku is a badass. So
Series premieres in 2023 on Disney Plus. It's set during the High Republic era. Star Wars Young Jedi Avengers. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. So different one there.
Too.
That's going to be pretty sick. I'm trying to find the one that you just brought up because I'm excited about that too.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
It is a lot. But yeah, the one that you brought up is 3 about Ahsoka and 3 about Dooku, which is going to be really fucking cool. I'm excited about that. It's in the same kind of
I guess
Clone
here,
Wars
since
art style.
Not too much for Lucasfilm, we can just talk. Like they finally released the trailer to Mandalorian.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Mandalorian because that's where this show's kind of iteration came to be, was with the Mandalorian season 2.
Talk about it.
God, that trailer looked amazing.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, it's no surprise that is, whether it may not have the best grades for Kyle and I, like when you combine it, but like in terms of enjoyment, I'd say Kyle and I enjoyed Mandalorian the most because it started the show, and it's had some like really like honestly some like iconic moments in like streaming like shows history. And Grogu's, Grogu. So like, it's an awesome show. We love it. We can't wait for it to come back. It's very much a staple of our identity.
There's hella Mandalorian showing up in this. Bo-Katan seems like she wants nothing to do with Mando anymore. Calls him a terrorist. I saw somebody
accidentally became the captain of the ship. Essentially, like
I saw somebody say Bo-Katan calling Mando basically a terrorist is
ironic because she is a terrorist.
They said because she's part of Death Watch, the biggest terrorist group of Mandalorian ever. That would be like Osama bin Laden calling somebody a terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little pissed they didn't show much of Skeleton Crew. I believe they only showed a picture of Jude Law, right? That was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because Star Wars there's a couple. Like I know and the same thing with Ahsoka. They just finally gave her.
They showed the reveal of Ahsoka there. But the other thing from the Mandalorian that I took away is, and I forget who said it. Somebody said it feels like there's going to be a lot of like Star Wars meets Game of Thrones in the Mandalorian season 3 because it looks like they're going back to Mandalore. There's going to be a lot of in-house fighting almost. I can tell you all right now, like, the Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be some of the best television we get in all of 2023. And it's dropping in February 2023. It's going to be fucking insane. Like, just visually from this trailer, it looks beautiful.
I hope, and I hope you're 100%. I mean, you should be right, and I think it looks gorgeous. I think they're doing more practical, and I guess that's a good way to segue into another Star Wars show that Kyle and I are excited about.
But also, I do have to mention, very fun to see Carl Weathers back, very fun to see Pelimoto back, and Babu Frick.
I knew it. I was trying to avoid it. I was trying to avoid the Babu Frick.
We're not going to avoid Babu Frick. Also, I think just visual-wise, the reveal of the Mandalorian logo was very, very cool. That's
true. Very true. I'm excited for Andor now because of the whole practical effects. I've watched the trailer, so, But
Andor's going to be fun. That's going to be coming next week with a 3-episode premiere.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Willow show, though. That feels to me like it's trying to be like...
Well, apparently Willow came out a while ago. Like, there was an original Willow. That was either a movie or a show, not 100% sure, but this is kind of like a recreation from that. I'm pretty excited. The cast is really dope. So I'm very, like, openly optimistic about it. Skeleton Crew looks like it's going to be fucking sick with Jude Law. I'm excited about that.
Bad Batch Season 2.
Bad Batch Season 2 coming January 4th, 2023 with a 2-episode premiere. Skeleton Crew has officially wrapped filming as well. The video of Pedro Pascal going up and hugging Jon Favreau was absolutely incredible on the stage as well. Also, the Tales of the Jedi, all 6 shorts will be streaming all at once on October 26th, so that's very, very soon as well. Willow drops on November 30th. I think Willow's pretty cool. It's one of those things from Lucasfilm that's not exactly Star Wars, but it has Star Wars elements to it. But it looks visually incredible, so I'm excited to just see what it's all about. We're probably both going to go into that blind and just see
I know nothing about it.
How cool it's going to actually look. The cast is amazing, so I'm excited for that one. I love how Marvel opened up with a full-blown production of Rogers the Musical. I Can Do This All Day from Hawkeye. They did the entire thing, not just a snippet. That was how they opened their panel at D23. Ironheart has a new logo, Dylan. They changed the heart logo from being a stone to kind of more, that teal color, which is kind of interesting. And then Kevin Feige brought out my boy Anthony Ramos onto the stage, fully confirmed to be playing the Hood in Ironheart. He will be the villain. I'm pumped about that. He's going to be awesome.
We were talking about that not too long ago, so it's cool to see it coming to fruition.
Yeah, very cool to see it fully confirmed and to see Anthony Ramos at D23. Obviously, if you don't know who he is, he was in Hamilton, he was in The Heights. He's a big-time Broadway actor and musician now. He's got an album out, which is pretty sick. And basically, Kevin Feige said that Ironheart is going to be kind of a test of magic versus tech, which is going to be really freaking cool.
Because that's kind of like a trend that we've seen in other mediums before. Can technology or manpower beat magic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for Ironheart. Which the director from Black Panther...
Patrick Mahomes just got absolutely destroyed.
The director from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, is directing Ironheart, Ryan Coogler. So that's also going to be freaking sweet that he's continuing on with Ironheart's story there. We got the announcement, Dylan. It's finally here. We got the official trailer for Marvel Studios' Werewolf by Night.
So
let's break this trailer down.
How happy were you? Or how, I was going to say, how horny on main were you?
I had to get bonked several times. Okay. Several times. Because I watched this trailer, and I love how it was presented, kind of as an old school 70s, 80s television special in black and white. I don't know if you picked up on the 2 big takeaways from this. So, well, there's actually 3. Apparently, the actor who plays when you have the captions on Jovan, he was in Spider-Man, the first Homecoming, I want to say, when homie that was also in Shang-Chi said, "Do a flip, Spider-Man."
Yeah.
The actor that plays Jovan in Werewolf by Night is standing behind our guy there. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's the same character or not. But my big takeaways from the Werewolf by Night trailer. 1, Man-Thing is confirmed for the MCU. Man-Thing is in the trailer. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
Number
it's a
2,
interesting trailer.
When they're fighting and going at it in that one room, Dylan, there are TVA agents in Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, they had the little prod thing.
They had the zappers. They had the uniforms. The TVA is in Werewolf by Night. So here is my question to you, Dylan.
And it makes sense, by the way, because what better to have countless people die by these entities than people that are duplicates of themselves in a timeline? You know what I mean? It sounds messed up, but they're kind of replaceable. You know what I mean?
I want to make your brain go all the way back to Loki. Remember when our boy Owen Wilson Mobius, M. Mobius, said that they've brought in countless creatures He name-dropped vampires in particular.
Yeah, he said vampires. Yeah, I remember
He
that.
also name-dropped and said that the TVA has a nightmare division. Could it be that the TVA agents here in this black and white pocket reality potentially in Werewolf by Night are your nightmare division TVA agents?
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, that job sucked.
Oh, yeah. Werewolf by Night's going to be incredible. October 7th, that drops, so it's very, very close. We get, a nice little bridge from She-Hulk into Werewolf by Night to then go to Wakanda Forever. But what were your initial takeaways overall from Werewolf by Night? Because I think the overwhelming consensus online from when that dropped was like, holy shit, this looks awesome. And I love that they also did it in black and white so they could include blood in the show. And I think this is just, I think Kevin Feige saw the reaction and he probably immediately ordered like 7 more holiday specials.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I like the whole noir, like horror aspect of it. I'm really curious to see how it plays out. I hope it's terrifying. I want something scary. Because it's going to be a Halloween special, like in terms of like it's coming out October 7th. Because very much spooky season. And I can't wait. I hope it delivers, and I hope it's just genuinely like eerie and creepy. I think did we get any other trailers from Marvel?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, we got
we're on Skrull Search.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
What a cast, dude! I was reading online. Where'd it go? I just scrolled past it, people. Dude, it's like, it's Don Cheadle, Martin Freeman, Emilia Clarke, Colby Smulders, obviously Samuel L. Jackson, Olivia Colman. That's sheesh.
And it's a
Big
show.
Ass cast.
It's a show.
It's more than a show. It's a super show.
This trailer gave me This trailer gave me big Captain America and the Winter Soldier movie vibes. Like the tone of it, and Secret Invasion is going to be fucking wild. Let's just say that.
It's going to be lit.
I cannot begin to explain how excited I am for this show. It's going to change the MCU as we know it.
Well, it's going to reveal. Didn't they already say they're going to reveal like several characters that have been in our MCU to be Skrulls the entire time?
Yeah,
right?
And we see just crazy espionage, crazy just like.
Who do you think? Like, what would you say is your lock? Like, if you know how like people tonight who are watching football, like myself on the side. What's your what's the lock? What's the go-to, the safe bet? What's the safe prop for who's going to be a Skrull? Or hey, pick up.
Haha. My go-to outside of Emilia Clarke's character, because she is highly rumored to be the Skrull Queen in this show.
She's my queen. That makes sense.
I think my lock for Skrull of a character that's been around. Man, I want to say Sharon Carter so bad.
I know one that it physically can't be is Ant-Man.
And I know it can't be Rhodey either, because in Civil War we saw him get shot down, and if he would have, been a Skrull, he would have reverted to being a Skrull at that moment. I'm trying to think, like, I don't think it's going to be anybody like too massive, but I think it's going to be people that have been around.
It's not going to be Hawk. It won't be She-Hulk. It obviously can't be Vision. He's not. Won't be Wanda. Won't be Bucky.
Old Man Cap?
Maybe. Or maybe the Captain America we've seen all this time was actually a Skrull. I don't know. Or maybe, like, by some weird shit, they go backwards and they're like, yeah, actually, like, this reality, like, the whole time when they reset it, like, Old Man Cap is the actual Captain America, but the Captain America you have was a Skrull.
That's true, too. Trying to see. list. Who could be on my list?
My list.
My list.
What? Wakanda.
Do you
I think Martin Freeman could be a Skrull. What? I'm saying he's a government agent. He's not.
Wait, who?
Martin Freeman, his character. Do you know Martin Freeman is? He's the guy that's in Black Panther. He's the white agent.
I don't remember who that is.
He gets like captured by Claw. They like save him.
Okay.
Sonny Michelle stealing touches away from Austin Eckler. Sorry.
Trying to think of, because I don't think it's going to be anybody like groundbreaking, but it'll still be somebody that catches you off guard.
Yeah. While you're thinking, I'll go over the 3 easy ones from Marvel that we've already talked about. There wasn't anything, so they confirmed Logan. Jesus, Loki season 2. Didn't really have much to show for it. I'm looking now. Fantastic Four, they are still keeping very much in the dark. They just announced that Matt Shakeman is the guy directing it, and it's coming out November 8th, 2024.
Yeah, Matt Shackman also, we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before when it was rumored that it was going to be him. He's the one that worked on WandaVision.
Yes.
I have my person that I think could be a Skrull.
Go ahead, go for it.
Val.
Okay,
Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character. I think she could be a Skrull because she is a Skrull in the comics.
That ties in to the next thing that they announced.
Secret Invasion is going to be wild, and I think another like dark horse candidate to be a Skrull could be Thunderbolt Ross's son. I think he could potentially be a Skrull. Oh, and you know who else? You know who my lock is, Dylan? I have my lock. I don't know why it took me this long to remember. Agent Cleary from Spider-Man No Way Home and Ms. Marvel from the DODC. Because remember, in Spider-Man, he said that Nick Fury had been off-world for over a year. How does homie know that? Nick Fury is one of the most secretive people on the planet. And we just saw in this trailer that Maria Hill had been trying to contact him, and he was just leaving her on red and not getting back to her. I think Agent Cleary is 110% going to be a Skrull.
I'm okay with that prediction.
So yeah, that was we're going to dive more into those 2 trailers in particular next week, more than likely, just to give us time to sift through them. Because there is a lot that dropped. Armor Wars finally confirmed that it is happening. Don Cheadle will be back.
Don Cheadle! No.
Don Cheadle!
Daredevil, nothing new.
There was some interesting stuff from Daredevil that they didn't really show, because there was a lot of stuff they didn't show to the internet, but if you were at D23, you got to look at a lot of stuff. So they did talk about Echo on stage at D23. Vincent D'Onofrio was on stage. They showed images from Echo because it has wrapped filming that Kingpin does have the eye patch over his left eye. So bozos, he's not dead, you morons. But after the Echo portion of the Marvel panel ended, D'Onofrio stayed on stage, Dylan, and he went up to Kevin Feige and said, "All right, are we going to talk about my show now?" And then from stage left, I believe it was, or stage right, but from the wing of the stage, Charlie Cox walked on stage and said, "Don't you mean my show?" Power.
Wait, what, really?
Power move. And then that's when the Daredevil Born Again portion of the panel started, was when Charlie Cox walked on stage and said all of that, which I thought was absolutely epic.
It is epic. Epic Fortnite move.
So yeah, we had Armor Wars get a new logo and confirm that it is still part of the timeline and everything. This will be cut. I'm just trying to tweet out the Dan Russo show. Shout out. Also, we got confirmation. We brought up the leader earlier in the show, Dylan, being back for Captain America New World Order. Well, we also have new confirmation from some characters from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming back for Captain America New World Order.
Crazy.
We have Danny Ramirez and Carl Lumbly, the actors who played our curious friend who claimed that Captain America was on the moon.
Curious George?
He will be the new Falcon in the MCU.
Yeah, that's pretty good for him. I mean, because
So I like that a lot. And then Carl Lumbly will reprise his role as Isaiah Bradley, which to me just screams Eli Bradley, hello Patriot.
It screams
Let's
they're killing
rock.
him off, right? And they're making his son the new. That's what happened to the comics, right? Don't they like drain his blood or something? Like really nuts?
Because he's a super soldier, so I think there's going to be
Which
something
makes
involved
sense.
there, for
No
sure.
offense, you're not gonna have. He's an older actor. You won't have him for long. You're gonna get the son involved, or he's gonna die off. And either way, he's gonna be, what's the word? Dethroned, or what I mean, pass on the torch to someone else.
And Eli Bradley is part of the Young Avengers, who I think are on the way.
Yes.
And I think they might be doing a little dirty dancing with the program, the show, movie, whatever we
Dirty
thought it was going to
Dancing?
be. It is a movie though, confirmed, Dylan, and it's something we've talked about on this show for 2 years now. The
Dirty Dancing?
Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts, baby. The cast is
baby.
confirmed. And I do have some
baby.
takes. I have some takes on this cast as well.
Yeah,
And so does Dylan.
baby.
So here is your lineup for the Thunderbolts. You have Val, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You have our boy David Harbour, Red Guardian, back, which I know Dylan and I are very excited because that was probably 1A favorite part about the Black Widow movie, along with Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova character. We loved Red Guardian a ton, so very happy to see David Harbour sticking around in the MCU while we wait for Stranger Things Season 5. We have Yelena Belova, obviously, as the Black Widow of this crew. We have U.S. Agent John Walker, who we already knew was coming through. Taskmaster is in the Thunderbolts lineup, who we saw in Black Widow. And well, I have a take on Taskmaster being back. And we have Ghost from Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, joining the Thunderbolts as well. And I think the most unexpected member of the Thunderbolts, one James Bucky Barnes, joining the Thunderbolts. And Kevin Feige said, this crew has some issues when the most level-headed of them all is Bucky Barnes.
It's a pretty mentally unhinged group. I don't dislike any of them besides Taskmaster. I actually like Taskmaster. I just don't like the adaptation they brought upon us in the Black Widow movie. And you might be saying he doesn't like it because it's a woman. I could care less if it was a dog playing it. I don't.
No,
like
we
it because-
talked about Black Widow when it came out. We said we were bummed by just the portrayal of the character and knowing what the character's capable of in the comics. Here's why I'm happy that Taskmaster is in the Thunderbolts. This is a redemption opportunity for the character. This is an opportunity for Marvel to kind of right a wrong, not really, make us remember everything that happened in Black Widow. And you got to remember, I think a key portion of the Black Widow movie that happened with Taskmaster was when Natasha used the spray or whatever to get her out of that state of being hypnotized by Dreykov. So now she has the ability to get hypnotized and just influenced by Val. And I think Val is a much more badass villain leader.
in, by the way, Kyle.
Let's go. I'm a fan of Taskmaster being in here because I think they're going to right a wrong and they're going to use Taskmaster the way that they should have initially, and she is going to be way more badass in the Thunderbolts than she was in Black Widow. Ghost is an interesting character to be in this lineup. I think it's because of her shape-shifting and quantum shifting abilities from Ant-Man 2. Bucky being in here is fucking insane. I'm very curious and interested to see how he plays into it. And it also looks like Yelena and Bucky are kind of your leaders of this crew, the way that they're lined up in that photo that we tweeted out at StreamerSZN. I also have a take here. They didn't reveal 2 of the characters that are going to be in this lineup for very specific reasons.
Baron Zemo.
I think they're going to bust Zemo out of prison in the movie. I think that's when he gets out of prison and becomes kind of the leader of this crew.
Abomination.
And then I think they're waiting for the end of She-Hulk to reveal that Abomination's joining the Thunderbolts.
They kind of need Abomination because they don't have that much power in that group.
They don't have a Hulk.
Like, they don't have the tank. You know, if you play video games, you know someone's gonna be the tank. You know, and they don't really have that per se.
And outside of Ghost, it's pretty interesting that most of this crew, some way or another, has super soldier serum involved with them. Red Guardian, John Walker, Bucky.
Baron's gonna love that.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting aspect here. I'm excited as fuck for this movie now. I think this is...
I am too. I really want to see what direction it goes, man.
And I think Thunderbolts could also tie in to having some issues with the intelligentsia, because Captain America New World Order comes out your birthday week of 2024, and then Thunderbolts comes out July of 2024. So that is like recurring movies, like back to back there. So I think there's going to be a lot of tie-ins between those 2 movies, and it's gonna get crazy. Like I can't tell you guys, if you're a true OG listener of this show, I have talked about the Thunderbolts since Zemo popped back through, and then we got John Walker, and we got the introduction of Val, and then we got Val obviously in Black Widow as well to recruit Yelena. I've been wanting the Thunderbolts in the MCU for quite some time.
For years at this point, not months, not minutes, years.
I'm very excited about this crew. Like, if I could have painted up a Thunderbolts cast, this is pretty damn close to it. And I think, like I said, Abomination's going to get revealed to be in this lineup at the end of She-Hulk and break, his parole and everything to join them. And then, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Dylan. Brain blast here, Thunderbolts wise. Remember how Abomination has the 7 pen pals, his 7 soulmates?
Yeah, there's only 6 on the thing.
There's 7 in the Thunderbolts. We got Val, Ghost, Red Guardian, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, John Walker, and Taskmaster.
That's sick. Kyle just solved the mystery of
Abomination is joining the Thunderbolts, confirmed, and then I think their mission will be to get Zemo out of prison. And also I have a take, because I think the Thunderbolts are not only just like, they're going to get a movie to kind of introduce them as what their team up really is. They are a very interchangeable group in the comics. The Thunderbolts is going to be, I think, the most seamless way for Marvel to reintroduce a good pal of the Netflix Marvel Universe, Luke Cage, because Luke Cage leads the Thunderbolts in the comics at one point, and I think that's a perfect way for them to bring Luke Cage into the MCU.
It's a good point. It's a good way for them to bring in like random anti-hero villain heroes, because similar to like the Suicide Squad of DC, they have a roster that changes via leaving or dying. So you can add people into it, and that should be pretty exciting going forward.
Yeah, I'm very pumped about that. Also, just some other news before we wrap up here. Netflix is not moving away from the binge release model. I know that was a hot topic in the streets.
So hot topic in the streets. What?
About that. According to Justin Kroll on Twitter, he's Deadline's senior film reporter. Marvel's X-Men movie isn't happening for a very long time. That makes a lot of sense. It's probably not going to be until Phase 7, so don't worry. It's still going to happen.
Psyduck.
Let's see here. Anthony Mackie on the Thunderbolts movie. Quote, I'm highly upset that they put Sebastian Stan in a movie with Wyatt Russell and left me out. If Sebastian gets Wyatt, I should get Chris.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool that they both like Wyatt Russell, though.
Yes, I'm pumped about that. Shira Haas will play the Israeli superhero Sabra in Captain America New World Order. We did get more information about the Marvels as well at D23, Dylan. The premise of the movie, I think you'll enjoy this. The Marvels is about the three heroes being Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel, teleporting and trading places every time they use their powers, and they have to team up to fix their problem.
I like that.
And also, big reveal, Goose the Cat, the Flurkin, if you will, is returning in the Marvels. The Flurkin is back. We are getting an Assassin's Creed live-action series at Netflix. I don't know how Dylan feels about that.
The flirkin got me right there. I apologize. My phone. I went to answer a text from work, and then my phone was just like.
So to go back here real quick from what I mentioned, Assassin's Creed live action series at Netflix is officially happening.
Yeah, I'll hold my breath for that.
I knew that was going to be your answer. Don Cheadle did say Armor Wars will start filming next year, and it takes place right after Secret Invasion. So that tells me that Rhodey is not a Skrull. Confirmed.
Rhodey.
We did get more from Ant-Man 3, which was pretty interesting stuff there. It looks like it's going to be a heist type situation.
Heist movies are always classics.
It's going to be very fun.
Or they say.
Also, Mandalorian Season 3, Giancarlo Esposito will return as Moff Gideon.
I love that. He is one of the best bad guy actors on television.
Yeah, I really want to see him in the MCU as well. I feel like he'd be such a good fit.
If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, I recommend it, dude. It's so good.
Just
I'm about
scrolling
to buy a
through
Baron Zemo Funko Pop.
I love the Baron Zemo. Want to see if there's anything else of importance that I missed for the listener. Oh, we're getting an Iron Man video game in development at EA, Dylan.
Dude, that's fucking sick, mate.
Charlie Cox doesn't see slapstick Daredevil working for Daredevil Borgen because it's not truthful enough to the source material. Shout out to Charlie Cox. Avengers Campus, this was also at D23 and I think kind of interesting. Avengers Campus in Disneyland in California. They are adding a multiverse attraction, and the ride's villain, Dylan, is King Thanos.
Hey!
We also got our first trailer for Kid Cudi's Enter Galactic. It also stars Jessica Williams, Timothy Chalamet, Ty Dolla $ign, Jaden Smith, Vanessa Hudgens, and Macaulay Culkin.
Timothy Chalamet?
The Timothy Chalamet. It looks very similar to the animation style of Into the Spider-Verse. And it's releasing on Netflix September 30th.
That's pretty sick. I like that. There's by the way, anyone listening, it's a good Funko Pop sale on Amazon right now.
Hey-oh. Emily Carey says there have been talks of young Alicent and Rhaenyra returning for House of the Dragon Season 2. More than likely in a flashback sense, I would guess.
Okay. Talk about it.
Brendan Fraser says Batgirl's cancellation is, quote, disappointing. The fans really wanted to see this film made, and Leslie Grace is a dynamo.
Dynamite.
Like I mentioned, Sam Rockwell is down to return as Justin Hammer in the Thunderbolts. Quote, I would be into that. Hammer's fun. He's a real Lex Luthor.
He is a good actor for that.
Kingsley Benadir is confirmed to play Rebel Skrull leader Gravik in Secret Invasion. He's the one where we saw his actor show up a bunch of times in the trailer, and that Skrull that's screaming and yelling, that is his character. And then we got obviously our core four here from Game of Thrones to the MCU. We got with Emilia Clarke now in the MCU. We obviously got Icarus and Dane Whitman in the Eternals, and we had Peter Dinklage obviously, and now we got Emilia Clarke. So
dude, the Agent
making the
Venom Funko
jump.
Pop looks sick.
Super sick.
I had to share that. If anyone knows.
Oh,
or
I wanted to
listening,
get your
Salva.
opinion on this. We've got
Yeah,
Marvel games that are upcoming projects in development. The Black Panther Captain America World War II game.
Yeah, there wasn't much
Substance to it.
gameplay substance to it. So you have to kind of bite and just wait in terms and see.
It does
what
intrigue
happens.
me, though.
No, it intrigues me. It's a cool concept. I like World War II games. It's just so many video games are like developed and made like half-assed these days. So it's just like I want to see more gameplay before I, you know what I mean, get excited or like want to spend my money on it.
Iron Man game, Midnight Suns, a Wolverine game, Spider-Man 2, and a Black Panther solo game.
Because, for example, the Guardians of the Galaxy game, good.
Yes, very good.
The Avengers game, not good. So
Unless your name is Pat Pitts. He loves that game. But remember, Pat Pitts' brain is much different than all of ours.
That's a good guy. But the point is, like, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, it's two different sides of a coin, I guess I'm trying to say. It's like, so I think superhero or like movie-esque games are either really good or they're dog shit. There's no in between. So patiently wait.
Yeah. Here's a fun one that I'm super stoked about, and I think you should be stoked about this, even though we both agree that you don't necessarily need a cinematic universe for everything. This entity, I think, can get away with doing it and doing it well. Sean Levy says the Stranger Things cinematic universe is coming.
I'm okay with that if they do it right, you know? I think everyone's just trying to... Go ahead, sorry.
You'll like his quote as to why. Because obviously Sean Levy is working on Deadpool 3. He is the director for that. He said, quote, "Now that I'm spending time with Kevin Feige, I'm learning a lot about how to manage a universe, so I'm taking those skills and applying it to the Stranger Things cinematic universe."
I like that. I'm excited, man. There's some good stuff on the horizon.
Plus, we know there are spin-offs in the works, you know, and different portions of the Stranger Things universe with Upside Down Pictures, with the Russo brothers, so that's very exciting. We also got our first trailer for the second Knives Out movie, which looks super sick. And Sean Levy also had to retract a little bit of statements and said, you know, I was just a little in over my head. I was joking a little bit, but he did say on the red carpet at the Emmys, Dylan, that Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds are trying to figure out a Stranger Things and Deadpool crossover. Quote, "It's on the table." I would love that. But he did tweet a couple days ago and said, "Wade Wilson can't stand the sight of blood unless it's his own or his enemies. Nosebleeds are a hard pass. No Deadpool Stranger Things crossover coming, folks. Sorry, my dumb joke led to misleading headlines." Little bit of a bummer, but
a little bit of a disappointment.
The Witcher, Dylan. All right, Witcher.
Toss a coin to the Witcher.
Season 4 and Season 5 will reportedly be written and filmed back-to-back.
Oh.
Season 3 has wrapped filming. And like we mentioned during our House of the Dragon segment, Millie Alcock and Emily Carey's final appearances as Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower will be in House of the Dragon Episode 5. So this Sunday will be their final appearance in the season. There are discussions, like I mentioned, about them potentially coming back for Season 2, but nothing is certain, and we imagine that it would be in flashback form. And let's see, anything? Oh, we mentioned this before we started recording. David Harbour will star in Neil Blomkamp's live-action Gran Turismo film for PlayStation. Based on a true story, the project is described as the ultimate wish-fulfillment tale of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that, honestly, actually. Like, it's an interesting concept, and I like when things are, like, kind of like you don't expect. Like, oh, they're making this into a movie or a show. sometimes it goes both ways. It's like, oh, they're making that, but it's interesting enough where I'm gonna give it out a chance.
Plus, it's our boy DK Harbor. You'll enjoy this quote here from our girl Millie Alcock, who Dylan and I are starting to just want to see in everything because we love her acting as Rhaenyra in House of the Dragon.
It definitely has good chemistry. Yeah. This
comes from the New York Post, Dylan, on the brothel scene in episode 4. There were extras who we had just met who were like 69ing for 12 hours. It's pretty gnarly.
That's a fucking quote.
And to follow up here, Matt Smith and I were just kind of mates, so it was quite comfortable. We had an intimacy coordinator, and we worked with her through the rehearsal process and blocked it out months before.
Can't get over what you just said.
69 for 12 hours, baby. Jeff Loveness will write Avengers the Kang Dynasty. He also wrote Ant-Man 3, so that makes a lot of sense with Kang being the main villain in Ant-Man 3. Him directing the Kang Dynasty writing the Kang Dynasty makes a ton of sense. Here's a fun quote, Dylan. Kit Harington, when asked about the Game of Thrones sequel show in development, quote, "The only thing I'll say is that I know nothing about it."
It's very just, I know nothing.
Blade Runner sequel series, Blade Runner 2099, has officially been ordered by Amazon.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty interesting. We talked about Timothée Chalamet just a little bit ago. He revealed, Dylan, that Leonardo DiCaprio was the one to give him the advice of, quote, no hard drugs and no superhero movies.
Which is ironic, because I think there's a quote that Leo did say he would go into one if the right opportunity arises. And it's also funny, because it's like, okay, well, did Leo also give him the advice to not date a girl past the age of 25? Yeah, shots fired, Mr. DiCaprio.
Pew, 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 pew. Disney has removed the release date for Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron from their calendar. I feel like that is
Rogue
never going to get
Squadron
made.
Standing by.
And last one to kind of dive and manifest on, because I want to see this personally. Keke Palmer is down to play Rogue in the MCU.
Keke, do you love me? Sorry.
Are you riding? I would love to see Keke Palmer in the MCU as Rogue. I can see it in my head just like working, and that would be phenomenal.
Kyle, they're going to have House of Dragon Funko Pops.
Sick.
No, but they have the dragon.
Oh, sick. That's dope.
He's like, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
No.
Get us to 500 subscribers, and maybe I'll buy my first Game of Thrones merch, which would be those Funko Pops.
Now, hold on a minute. No, that's cool, though.
That's all we got for you guys. Next week, Dylan and I will obviously be talking to She-Hulk, House of the Dragon. We're going to break down those trailers a lot more. I'm going to be able to sift through them a little bit more detailed and give you guys our full-blown thoughts on those bad boys. And, of course, follow us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. It helps more people find the show, helps more people join the StreamerSZN community. And Dylan, what should they be leaving in the podcast reviews on Apple Podcasts?
They should be leaving recommendations on what Kyle and I should be watching and streaming and talking about for the masses next. We have all the streaming services. We do not, we're not particulate to one. Like, we literally will take on whatever. We also encourage you to leave nice reviews in YouTube and comments as well by doing that. And just any of the streaming services. And, just let us know. Because, I keep saying earlier, we're going to have a lull eventually. Or hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Kyle and I are just on the mother trucking gauntlet. But either way, there will be a time where we can dive into what you guys leave us. And we've only had a couple people leave reviews. And the 2 people that have done it for me, they've, texted me. I didn't listen to the directions. So if you're listening now, I'm calling you out. But no, like, let us know what you want us to watch next.
And next week, Dylan, 3-episode premiere of Andor. Andor will be added to the list of things we'll be breaking down next week. Hachi Machi. So get prepared. She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Andor. We're hitting 3 levels of nerd culture for the people. So be ready. Be ready. We might have to find a way to move to 2 episodes a week for the time being with just so much content. It's crazy.
Like pre-record 1 episode and then either way.
It's crazy. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel where you get full video episodes of StreamerSZN every single week. And we're on that hashtag Road to 1K Gauntlet Challenge. When we hit 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, Dylan will be cosplaying. I will be watching Season 1 of Game of Thrones, and you won't want to miss that. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel, smash that like button, ring the bell icon so you don't miss a single second of the content. And big thank you to our sponsors, Main Auto, that is the main podcast.
Main Auto, woo!
Shout out. Tomahawk Shades, Pickup, Kenwood Beer, and Bino Board. All of their information is linked in the show notes on audio and in the description on YouTube. And this has been another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Dylan, I'm KB. I'm running out of breath. And until next week, we're going to go Hulk out on a dragon and head to Andor. We are getting the heck out of here.